Hello there, everybody. Welcome back. Welcome back. Today we're going to be watching a Michael Button video, and this one is on the groundbreaking discovery at the Giza pyramids. Now, I do believe he is going to be going over and talking about the structural pillars that are underneath the Giza plateau, the spiral staircase cut in, or staircase, or shaft, or column, whatever it is. But earlier this year, there was a release. I forget which group it is. I'm sure he'll go over it. I just got like a tertiary knowledge of it. There was a release of utilizing like the satellite lidar technology, and it showed these structures underneath the pyramids of Egypt. Very, very fascinating stuff. We've been waiting for some more information. Dying Light just downloaded. Good segue. Hey, if you want to see me play some games, I do have a gaming channel. Go and check it out. Link to the gaming channel will be in the description down below, the same as this video. Link to this video will be in the gaming channel, the description down below. Anyways, like I was saying, we've been waiting on some more release from this information, so hopefully that goes over that. I'm excited. You know what? Let's just get right into it, shall we? Get right on into this bad boy.
It's been a few months now, but what's really going on with these pyramid scans? Because if even part of what's been claimed turns out to be true, this
This is okay. So, I will just preface this by saying there has been a lot of fake AI videos that showcase like this grand like underground city. That's all nonsense. You really got to like weed out the AI nonsense. You got to weed out the clickbait to get to the actual information.
this might be the most paradigm-shifting discovery ever made. So what do we actually know? What comes next? And could we be on the brink of rewriting history? Hi guys.
I think we are. One thing that is the unfortunate reality is that a lot of our ancient history is all underwater. Once the polar caps melted away, the glacial, the larger glacial polar caps melted away, it sunk a lot of the land where our ancestors, lived and thrived on. So a lot of our ancient history or culture is all not only buried underground, but buried underground with a bunch of water on top of it, literally in the ocean. We've lost so much. We are, I think it's, oh God, Graham Hancock, I think says this, but we're a species with amnesia. I mean, humans have been around for hundreds of thousands of years, like actual modern day anatomically correct humans. We've been around for hundreds of thousands of years, and yet, our civilization culture only goes back 12,000 years. That's crazy. That's crazy to narrow it down to just that.
Guys, welcome back. If you're new here, my name is Michael. I have a degree in ancient history, and on this channel, we discuss the unexplainable mysteries of our past.
I think I found this guy on Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan has a lot of cool people on.
Get into it. You've probably seen the headlines, Mystery New City Beneath the Pyramids, or Massive Underground Structures Found Beneath Giza. It sounds like clickbait, but these articles came from real research, which claims something extraordinary. A mind-bending discovery from under the Pyramid of Khafre, the second largest of the Giza pyramids. Now I'm going to discuss the veracity of these claims in a minute, plus what the future of this work looks like. But first, let's talk about what was actually announced. The research comes from Italian scientists Filippo Biondi and Corrado Malanga. Their findings, presented in 2025, were dramatic. They announced that beneath Khafre's pyramid, they had detected 8 massive vertical structures, described as pillars or shafts, extending some 600 meters deep into.
Yeah, see, 600 meters, it's really deep as well. And if it's from my understanding, this technology was utilized in other ways as well. I think it was utilized in like a volcano, maybe. I think they tested it on another structure somewhere else in Europe, and it's a proven technology, and that's why they came and did it here. But yeah, can you imagine these pillars underneath the pyramids? I mean, there's already people that suspect the pyramids are actually 30,000 years old or 40,000 years old, even older than, what we attribute to them now. I mean, this is wild.
To the Earth. But the team didn't stop at pillars. In their rollout, they rattled off specifics. 5 relieving chambers stacked one above another, 8 columns each with spiral staircases, and 4 huge square platforms where the columns supposedly terminate.
I didn't know about that. What are they talking about these here? I didn't know. I thought it was just the pillars here, but they actually scan things inside of the pyramid itself?
In their rollout, they rattled off specifics: 5 relieving chambers stacked one above another, 8 columns each with spiral staircases, and 4 huge square platforms where the columns supposedly terminate. They even claim to have scanned a footprint of about 2 kilometers under the plateau. If taken literally, this would make this foundation system the largest supporting structure for any building in history.
What? No way. No, okay. That would be astronomical. If they built something that far down?
Which is exactly why the bar for evidence is so high. The images released at a press event show colourful tomographic slices with long column-like forms. To the researchers, these didn't look like natural geology. They looked like parts of a deliberate design. It sounds wild, but this technology isn't total sci-fi. The same technique has been used successfully on real geological features. In 2022, for instance,
Yeah,
Beyondi's
see?
team imaged
I knew it was used for a volcano. So I mean this technology is proven.
magma chambers beneath Mount Vesuvius. The success of this experiment gave them the confidence to try something more ambitious, applying the same method to one of the world's most iconic archaeological sites. Their technique is called SAR Doppler tomography, which is essentially a highly advanced form of satellite radar imaging. Satellites send radar pulses down toward Earth. When those waves bounce back, they can reveal not just the surface, but also subtle vibrations underground. By compiling many passes and analyzing the changes in the radar's phase, researchers can apparently construct 3D images of what lies beneath. But the story didn't stop there. In
Crazy.
interviews and press releases, the team suggested these features might form the foundations of a hidden underground complex. One member of the team even called it a potential underground city, a network of shafts, passages, and chamber-like voids, perhaps that could have served structural or ritual.
Well, there's a I think I don't know too much about it. Listen, the most extent of like ancient Egypt knowledge that I get from, this sort of stuff is typically from, these commentators or commentary channels on YouTube, or like old TV shows that were on like the History Channel, Sci-Fi and whatnot. Uh I believe there is talks of in like ancient Egyptian writing that there's like a lake, or there's like a pool of water underneath the pyramids, something like that, like a giant, like an ocean, that's like supposed to represent like the underworld or something. And there's like, I don't know, well, I can't remember, I'm sorry.
Purposes. Some even speculated about connections to Egyptian myths, the Hall of Records, legendary underground libraries,
Yeah, the Hall of Records, that's what it is. The concept originated with claims made by Edgar Cayce, an American who claimed to be clairvoyant. Maybe what? Is a perpetuated ancient library that is claimed to exist underground near the Great Sphinx. A clairvoyant? New Age movement? He said in the 1930s, refugees from Atlantis built the Hall of Records in Giza to preserve the knowledge. Okay, maybe this is not what I'm talking about. I'm almost positive. I'm gonna look it up. All right, so maybe I was wrong. Maybe I was wrong. Maybe I got fooled by some misinformation. Because this is saying there's no ancient Egyptian writing that states there's a structure under the pyramid. I thought there was, but I'm wrong. See, this is what happens. Even if, I mean, again, I said that I follow this on a tertiary knowledge thing. And that is one of the main reasons why I am watching this video, so I can get a little bit more knowledge on the subject. So yeah. Okay, I don't know. Hall of Records by Clairvoyant. I wouldn't trust this.
or the underworld river Herodotus once described. The imagery went viral. Dramatic animation showed
Wait, what?
even speculated about connections to Egyptian myths, the Hall of Records, legendary underground libraries, or the underworld river Herodotus once described.
Herodotus underground rivers? Oh, maybe this is what I was talking about. Herodotus did not describe a single specific underground river, but rather discussed multiple subterranean water phenomena in his stories. He reported on legends about the source of the Nile coming from deep underground and documented underground chambers and passages near Egyptian pyramids. Maybe this is what I was thinking about. Interesting. Okay. All right, I'll have to put this on my to-read list, but let's get back to the video. I keep putting it off.
The imagery went viral. dramatic animations showing glowing tunnels stretching under the desert. Articles amplified the underground city idea, and suddenly, people around the world were asking, have we finally discovered Giza's greatest secret? That's the claim, but as you'd expect, not everyone was convinced. Whenever new claims emerge about the pyramids, one name is never
Obviously.
far away. Zahi Hawass, Egypt's former minister of
He's Zahi Hawass is he's very set in stone. Like he doesn't want to talk about anything else other than like what's in the history book already. Like he doesn't want to even think that there could be different possibilities out there.
Antiquities has been the global face of Egyptology for decades. He's escorted presidents around the plateau, he's fronted documentaries, and he's long positioned himself as the guardian of Egypt's archaeological narrative. So when talk of hidden pillars and underground cities hit the news, Hawass came out swinging. He dismissed the findings outright, calling them completely unfounded. In his words, all this information is completely wrong and has no scientific basis. This is false, he said. The details they announced could not have been detected using such methods. For Hawass, the pyramids are already understood. Tombs and temples built by the Egyptians of the 4th dynasty. Nothing more, nothing less. So, who do we believe? Zahi or our Italian scientists? You know, when I'm researching these videos, I run into the same problems over and over. Information overload.
What's the ad for? Ground News. Oh, I like Ground News. Go and check out Ground News. Ground News is great.
Button. The link is in my description. Now back to the video. Hawass isn't shy about framing alternative claims in the harshest possible terms. He's called similar ideas pseudo-archaeology and often characterizes those behind them as frauds, fantasists, or opportunists trying to undermine Egypt's heritage. Now, Hawass's influence matters.
But if there is more, that's not undermining Egypt's heritage. That's actually showcasing that the Egyptians were even more advanced and did even greater things. What?
Because for the media and for many in the academic world, his verdict often sets the tone. If he says there's nothing there, then that quickly becomes the headline. But he wasn't the only one. Other experts also raised eyebrows. Geophysicist Lawrence Conyers, a pioneer in archaeological ground-penetrating radar, called the underground city idea a huge exaggeration. In his view, the technique simply cannot image that deep with the necessary resolution. Most radar in archaeology struggles beyond tens of meters, let alone hundreds. Physicist Sabine Hossenfelder went further.
Well, it's a new technology, is it not? That was my understanding. It's a new technology, and it has scientific merit because it was used in like this volcano research, and I think it was used to even scan a structure in Europe that was like 4 kilometers deep.
Dedicating an entire video to debunking the claim.
Well, not 4
scored it a
kilometers.
9
Is
out
it 4?
of 10 on
Well,
the
I don't
bullshit
know.
meter,
I'm sure they'll talk about it.
pointing out that there's no plausible source of micro vibrations to generate clear signals at such depths. To her, the images look nothing more than noise in the data. Even many in the alternative history space push back. One common objection was that much of this alleged network would lie below the water table. If so, how could it ever have functioned? Others pointed out that if the claims are literal, we'd be talking about the largest engineered foundation in world history, which isn't impossible but does demand extraordinary evidence. So almost immediately, the pushback became intense. Egypt's leading archaeologists dismissing the claims, geophysicists saying the technology can't possibly work that way, and science communicators tearing into the story online. Which brings us to the heart of the matter. How can we possibly make sense of all this? First, let's be clear. SAR tomography is a real scientific technique. Biondi and Malunga are not random nutters. They're researchers who've published peer-reviewed work, including a 2022 paper in remote sensing that successfully used this method to detect known chambers inside Khufu's Great Pyramid.
Wait, so it's been used in Egypt before already?
That's important. They're not claiming magic, they're applying a novel but legitimate technique. Additionally, skeptics often based their critiques on the early, blurry images the team released. Now, it's true those first pictures were indeed underwhelming, but later, in March 2025, the team shared a clearer, more refined image, showing distinct vertical structures that look far more convincing. Many critics ignored this updated figure entirely, focusing only on the weaker evidence to make their case. That's not rigorous skepticism, that's cherry-picking. Supporters also highlight that the team claims to have validated the approach by scanning the Gran Sasso Physics Lab in Italy, which is 1.4 kilometers under
1.4. Ah, okay. So yeah, see, they did scan something. It was 1.4 kilometers.
the ground. But to be fair, that's a claim in a presentation, not a peer-reviewed demonstration. Until the full workflow is published, it's marketing, not proof. And there's the key problem. The Khafre results have not yet been peer-reviewed or published. What we've seen so far are press conference
It still hasn't? I thought this video was going to talk about it finally being released. So it still hasn't been released yet. Oh, okay.
Images and a press release, not the detailed methodology or raw data that other scientists can scrutinize. Without that transparency, it's impossible to know whether the vertical pillars in their images are genuine signals or just artifacts of the processing. The team also leaned on proprietary AI software to sharpen and interpret the images. They even described training the system on medical scans to enhance structure detection. Now that's powerful for demos, but from a science perspective, it's a black box. Without peer review, we can't tell where the signal ends.
Yeah. I thought the video was going to be talking about how it was finally released to the public. Um Also the AI digital training, I mean that's just going to be everything's going to utilize AI going forward. So to demonize that is kind of ludicrous. I know I always gripe on this channel about things being AI, but it does have its use cases.
And the algorithm's imagination begins. Another important context is geology. The Giza Plateau is limestone bedrock. It's not known for vast natural vertical shafts hundreds of meters deep. That makes the discovery of pillars, quote unquote, either profoundly important or profoundly suspicious. If real, they'd represent a level of underground engineering far beyond what we associate with the Old Kingdom or any ancient civilization, by far. If
That's
false, they might be
crazy.
nothing more than quirks in the radar data. But here's a trap that many fall into. It is anti-science to reflexively dismiss anything extraordinary like this. Hawass and others categorically deny the possibility before even examining the methodology. But dismissing the findings outright is antithetical to the spirit of science. The correct approach is cautious openness. Don't accept extraordinary claims without extraordinary evidence, but don't slam the door shut before that evidence has even been presented. So where does
True.
all that leave us?
Very
Well,
true.
somewhere in the middle. The researcher's method is innovative and deserves to be tested, but until the work is peer-reviewed, replicated, and corroborated by other techniques, the claims remain unproven. For now, the idea is best treated as a hypothesis, in need of verification. Not a discovery, but not nonsense either. So what comes next? The researchers say a comprehensive peer-reviewed paper will be published later this year. That
See, this is what I thought the video was going to be talking about, how it was finally coming, or it finally came out, but it's still coming out in a sometime this year, couple months time, I guess.
will be the make or break moment. If the paper provides detailed methodology, error analysis, and shows consistent results, it could give the claims real scientific credibility. If not, the skeptics will be vindicated. So replication is the next step. Because the satellites they used gather open data, other remote sensing specialists could, in theory, run their own analyses on the same raw inputs. If independent teams also find anomalies under Khafre's pyramid, then the conversation will shift dramatically. But if they don't, then the pillars might well be a mirage. Ultimately, of course, nothing would settle the question like direct exploration. That's the hard part. Excavating beneath the pyramids requires permission from
That's never. I don't think that's ever going to happen. I don't think direct excavation's ever going to happen. Now you might go there with more, a closer, larger, ground penetrating radar system or something. But the actual like further excavation, it would need 100% foolproof, bulletproof proof. I just don't think it's going to happen. Not for maybe a couple decades.
Egypt's antiquities authorities. And with Hawass so vocally opposed, that seems unlikely anytime soon.
Yeah,
But
with Hawass here, I don't think it'll ever happen with Hawass here.
public fascination with this story is growing. You think surely, in this day and age, someone will somehow, eventually, properly explore beneath the Giza Plateau. More realistically, in the short term, it's non-invasive methods that may be used next. More muon tomography, advanced GPR, or refined SAR processing. If multiple independent techniques all point to the same anomalies, well, then pressure will mount to investigate further. In the meantime, the researchers themselves will likely continue scanning other monuments. If they can show similar anomalies under Khufu or Menkare's pyramid, or even under the Sphinx, that could definitely strengthen their case, or, on the other hand, reveal patterns that make geological sense. So the future hinges on transparency, replication, and perhaps one day, permission to dig. But finally, let's ask the big question, the one we all want to dream about. What if it's true? What if, against the odds, there really
If it's true, again, I mean that completely rewrites Egyptian history, and it shows. I think it would show that the technological not as superiority, but the technological advancements that the ancient people were capable of is something to be studied more and to be focused on more. And I do think, ancient civilizations, ancient people, our ancestors, did have a lot to show. It's just, unfortunately, with time, these things disappear. They're gone, natural erosion, getting completely buried, everyone that knew about it's dead. The story wasn't passed on. The ocean waves, covered it. It's very unfortunate.
Really are vast structures beneath Khafre's pyramid. The implications of that would be staggering. First, it would completely rewrite our understanding of Egyptian engineering. We already marvel at the precision of the pyramids, but if beneath them lay deep pillars or labyrinths, it would suggest a mastery of subterranean architecture completely beyond anything we've credited to the Old Kingdom. The pyramids might not just be monuments rising above the desert, they could also be monuments plunging deep below it. Second, it would breathe life into ancient legends. Herodotus wrote of Khufu being buried in a subterranean chamber surrounded
This is what I thought. So it was ancient lake or an ancient river, not an ancient lake.
by water. Later myths spoke of hidden halls, underworld rivers, even the legendary Hall of Records, said to contain the knowledge of the gods. Egyptologists usually dismiss these stories as metaphor or invention, but if real chambers were discovered, how would we read those myths then? Perhaps they were echoes of a memory we've long overlooked. Third, the find would raise thrilling new questions. Why build so much beneath the surface? Was it functional, foundations, water control, energy generation, earthquake protection? Or was it spiritual, a vast underworld mirroring the heavens above? Even if the reality turned out to be less dramatic than huge columns and an underground city, it would still be world-changing. Remember, Giza already has real shallow tunnels like the Osiris Shaft near Khafre's Causeway. These are understudied, sometimes waterlogged, and still not fully mapped. Even if the mega-depth pillars vanish under scrutiny, a renewed focus on Giza's subterranean features could still yield big discoveries. Suppose the pillars were ancient geological features that the Egyptians deliberately built over. That alone would tell us the builders chose Giza not just for its location, but for what lay beneath. Suppose the structures were shallower than claimed, more like deep vaults or shafts. That would still represent an engineering achievement unlike anything else of the period. But the likelier scenario, a partial truth. Maybe the radar really did detect something, but AI and processing noise exaggerated it into staircases and platforms. Even that outcome, uncovering shallower galleries or fissures beneath the pyramid, would still be a revelation. Of course, there's always the
Yeah, I mean, even if it's like 10% of what they're claiming it could be, even that 10% is more knowledge than what we have now. And I think, like he said, to just completely dismiss it outright is a foolish thing to do. If scientists, you should try to see all outcomes. But again, they haven't released the paper. If they haven't released the study, they haven't released the paper on it. These people that are just, outright dismissing it will continue to dismiss it. They need to hurry up and release the paper. I thought this video was going to talk about the paper being released. I know this is like the third or fourth time I said it, but
chance the anomalies turn out to be nothing at all, misreadings of noisy data. If so, the mystery of Giza continues much as it has for millennia, endlessly fascinating but refusing to give up its ultimate secrets. And maybe that's the real point. Whether or not there's a hidden labyrinth, the pyramids still hold our imagination captive. They sit at the intersection of science, myth, and mystery, because even in 2025, even after centuries of study, we still cannot explain them. Thanks so much for watching, guys. If you enjoyed this video, please consider giving it a like or subscribing to my
subscribe to the channel. Michael Button's pretty cool. Link to the channel will be in the description down below, so please go and take a look at it. Yeah, man. I really thought there was going to be a little bit more. I knew, like, again, it was like a tertiary thing, right? I've only picked up here and there. And he did, kind of cement some of these things that I had a vague knowledge on. I hope it's real. I do. I really hope it's real because that just means, that we as humans there's even more that we don't know. And that's always fascinating. I'm going to read some of the comments here. I think this video just came out 9 hours ago. Oh, this video came out really recent. Okay. I don't take anything Zahi Hawass says as fact. He's just full of BS. And that is one thing. There's, a lot of talks out there about Zahi Hawass knowing more, like specifically around the Sphinx, but intentionally hiding it. To that, I really can't say anything. One thing is clear to me, the Egyptians are hiding something, refusing to allow exploratory work on the basis of national security is more than suspicious. When I first saw the images, I thought artifacts, and when I found out AI was involved, I decided it was complete bunkum. But if Hawass is against it, I'm all in. Let's excavate. Dig a hole 100 meters down at a 30 to 40 degree angle at the base of the structure, and you will get an answer. What is this? What is this cryptic knowledge that he knows? I was hoping you would cover this topic. I appreciate your sober, open minded analysis as opposed to hyperbolic AI slop out there. There's a lot of AI slop out there. The Osiris shaft is obviously real and obviously 100% unexplainable, so I'm not surprised if all of this is true. Actually, I'd be much more surprised if there is nothing beneath the pyramids. That would make no sense. I believe Hawas's role is to protect the idea of the ancient Egyptian cultural legacy, not to promote the truth, so he will automatically disregard any facts that it takes away from that. Nearly all experts around the world believe the Sphinx, pyramids, labyrinth are far older and were instead inherited and repurposed by the ancient Egyptians, but this would be a direct insult to the culture in their minds. The majority of the people don't realize that the most incredible Egyptian structures built are tied to the first dynasties before they had the wheel and proper tools, implying the least advanced era was responsible for the most advanced structures. Plus, the ancient Egyptians kept better written records than any culture ever, yet they only documented how to make mud brick pyramids during the most advanced eras. Dear Lord, I don't know where to begin. Pretty much every single word you said is a lie, and yes, simply believed the liars, and you simply believe the liars and tell such lies. Those experts you refer to who claim the pyramids older than discovered, not believed, aren't experts but con men who make money by selling fiction stories to gullible people such as yourself, and you just buy their nonsense for some reason. The real experts on the subject are the archaeologists who work on the ground for decades making discoveries that tell us what really happened and when. The ancient Egyptians did record a lot and why when they built the pyramids, and these records have been found, so the real world knows what happened and when. Only brain dead, easily fooled, unintelligent people still think they're older based on some fantasy nonsense. Wild. Link to the video is going to be in the description down below, guys. Take care. Goodbye.